this life as a foreigner or traveler. The fertile land of Bukhara, the power of the religion of Islam, gave the world and the Islamic civilization great scientists, thinkers, ulama. The 7 spiritual mentors of the Khoja Naqshbandiya Tariqa, also remembered as great ancestors. They paid great attention to spreading the ideas of humanism, diligence, honesty, morality, and enlightenment in society. On going the way, they served as their personal example and model. One of such historical figures is Khoja Orif Revgariy. Khoja Muhammad Arif was born in 1165 in the uniquely beautiful village of Revgar in the Sharfarkan region, one part of which adjoins the foothills of the Guljuts, the other side the Kizilkum Desert, and the third the Darafshan Valley. According to sources, Khoja Muhammad Orif Revgariy, the second spiritual mentor from the Khojagan succession, was a tall, handsome, round-faced man. This man is known as Majutaban because his soul has become a treasured trove of divine light. Undoubtedly, the visitor of the memorial, built in honor of Muhammad Orif Revgariy, is overcome by the feeling that he has fallen into the past period of the mentor's life, and his soul is filled with spiritual energy. Its appearance reflects a green, shady corner that has appeared under the hot rays of the sun. Revgariy, who followed the motto of the Khojagan Tariqa about commitment to honest work, was engaged in gardening all his life. Even now, the abundance of plants and various flowers at the Revgariy pilgrimage site testifies to the fact that the horticultural work of the spiritual mentor doesn't stop even after centuries. From time immemorial, sacred Bukhara has been considered the cradle of scientists, lovers, and saints. Thousands of saints lived on this land. They selflessly loved Allah and believed in Him. And now us, the Bukharians and all Uzbeks, by the will of Allah, will always be proud of 7 perfect spiritual mentors, known to the whole world to live on this land. 7 spiritual mentors of the Khojagan Naqshbandiya Tariqa. Khoja Orif received knowledge about Sufism from Abdul Khalik Gijdwani, the first spiritual mentor of the chain of succession Khojagan. They walked towards each other from Gijdwan and Shafarkan and conducted their conversations in the village of Ribinan, located in the middle of their path. And now these roads, which the mentors have walked on, serve as a guide for tourists uniting these territories in the form of modern infrastructure. The total land area of the pilgrimage site, Mohtaban Muhammad Orif Revgariy, is 6 hectares. There is an 8-meter terrace, a tomb 2.5 meters high, a fountain, a stone well, and a dining room built in the national style. The cathedral mosque called Muhammad Orif Revgariy Mohtaban was built while the saint was alive. Nowadays, a complex for prayers has been erected on the side of the cathedral mosque. As noted in the sources, the burial place at the place of pilgrimage was surrounded by a wooden fence, and a white thorny plant grew on the grave of the most venerable one, which never lost its whiteness. The most venerable Orif Revgariy was known as a person with a divine gift. It turns out that on the days of Holy Ramadan, when he was invited to the iftar evening meal, he simultaneously served a meal at the table of 11 to 12 families. The disciple of the most honorable Orif Revgariy, our third spiritual mentor, Mahmud Anjar Fagnavi is considered the 12th spiritual member in a chain of succession. The founders of the Khojagan Naqshbandi Tariqa put forward the motto, "Let the heart be with God, hence in work," and thus called people to honest work. In his work, Arif Nama, the most honorable Murad Khoja Orif Muhtaman, notes that honesty is a decoration of a person and emphasizes that only upbringing and good manners characterize a person, and this is what determines his beauty. Khoja Orif Revgariy had a strong craving for science since childhood. According to sources, in his youth, Revgariy began to deeply study the tariqa and joined the ranks of the followers of Abdul Halik Gishdwani. Revgariy stood out among the students of the great spiritual mentor with his abilities and diligence. During the selfless service of Khoja Ahmad Siddiq, Khoja Awliya Kabir, Khoja Sulaiman to the most honorable Abdul Halik Gishdwani, the question suddenly arises in the soul of each of them. It's strange that our age and rank are higher, and our service is longer than that of Orif Revgariy. But why is the favor and the teacher's attention is more to Khoja Orif? Gishdwani, thanks to his spiritual gift, gasped their thoughts and said, "Hey my children, look for Khoja Orif." They found Khoja Orif. This man of illustrious family prayed in a dilapidated mosque. His head was under the shadow of the Kaaba. Impressed by what they saw, they asked Khoja Orif for forgiveness and made sure that Khoja Orif had reached a higher spiritual level. Revgariy, who continued to go through all stages of education under the leadership of Abdul Halik Gishdwani, eventually becomes one of his greatest followers and governors. Thus, Khoja Orif Revgariy is considered one of the 3 governors who received written permission from Abdul Halik Gishdwani to preach the right path, and receivers permission to give lessons to his followers. Written mentions of the Khoja Orif Revgariy in the famous works of the Middle Ages testifies that this person once occupied a high position in society. 7 Spiritual Mentors is a place that is sometimes positioned as a tourist attraction, but I can safely tell you this spot can give you a slight idea of what you can get if you're here. Each one of these 7 places is really a kind of portal to the universe. It's a portal where you can, being in the moment, just meditate and feel the energy of the universe. You are charged with infinite strength and energy. If you ever read The 1001 Nights fairy tale as a child or as an adult, I can tell you right away this is about this place. The main thing is the atmosphere, the people and the atmosphere that will envelop you in this place. It is incomparable to anything. It is the very reality that brings you into unreality. I recommend that you come here, immerse yourself into this atmosphere, and just meet yourself. Sacred Bukhara is a museum city which has become the center of the Islamic civilization of Uzbekistan, containing more than 140 architectural monuments of the Middle Ages. The place of pilgrimage Revgariy is one of such places to visit. Large-scale work has been carried out here to provide comfortable conditions for local and foreign tourists. In the process of creative work on repair, decoration, landscaping, special attention was paid to ensuring that every detail of the object carried the national color, elements of traditional forms, and regional customs. A visit to the Museum of History and Culture located at the place of worship of Khoja Orif Revgariy gives an opportunity to imagine the atmosphere of that period. Among the exhibits of the museum, there are items dating back to the 10th to 12th centuries AD, samples of pottery, clothing of that period. The most venerable Khoja Orif was a handsome and fragrant man. Since his face radiated light, his teacher Abduhalik Gijdwani nicknamed him Mohtaban. As given in the sources, Khoja Orif was an unusual person. Wherever he passed, the radiance of his face and the fragrance emanating from him made it clear that it was he who was walking along the streets of the neighborhood. It seems that the minaret on the territory of the complex reflects the power of the Venerable Revgariy. The brilliant, delicate and elegant ornament used in the construction reveals the spiritual beauty of this holy man. Revgariy Qutbul Awliya, a major representative of the Khojagan Naqshbandiya Tariqa, the second spiritual representative in the chain of brotherhood of the Khoja Abduhalik, is famous for the title of Leader of the Saints. The work related to the pen of this priest, Orphanimus, written in 1225, remained unknown for many years. In 1993, Sheikh Zulfikar Ahmad from Pakistan visited the graves of 7 Naqshbandi spiritual mentors. After a prayer at the tomb of Khoja Orif Revgariy, an excerpt from one work was read. Scientists from Bukhara asked with surprise, "Whose is this beautiful work?" Then Zulfikar Ahmad said, "I read an extract from that work of your ancestors, Arif Nama. Didn't you hear it?" The scientists informed the Sheikh about the real situation, and then Zulfikar Ahmad, upon arrival in Pakistan, sent a copy of the Arif Nama work. This person calls for mastering knowledge, practically following the acquired knowledge and selflessly putting it into practice. It is believed that this holy man, with his excellent upbringing, scientific authority, can always be an example for our youth. This man mainly attracted the attention of people by 3 actions. He showed a constant interest in science, ate only food obtained by honest labor, behavior and soul always true for the remembrance of Allah. After receiving the permission to spiritually mentor the disciples from the first mentor of Abduhalik Gijdwani's chain, Orif Revgariy raised many followers. The ideas of the most venerable are reflected in the work Arif Nama. In his teaching, Revgariy argues that the essence of human life is to stand firm in the faith, not to separate from society, create a family and manage a household by learning a profession. Revgariy paid special attention to the status of repentance in Sufism. He characterizes repentance as the banner of the religion of Islam. This work represents the appeals and advice of the author to the members of the Tariqa. It tells about the stages of the passage of spiritual path, judgments about enlightenment, the rules of decency of learning and holiness. Also, in the work, there are many legends of Abduhalik Gijdwani, the teacher of Orif Revgariy, about the life and views of other famous Sufis who lived at an early stage in the history of Sufism.
Hello, my name is Michelle and I'm from Australia. We're with a group and we've come all the way from all over Australia, Sydney, Melbourne, Western Australia, to visit this beautiful city of Bukhara. We're so happy to be here. Everything about it is beautiful. We visited many sites. We are interested in the history, the archaeology and all of the beautiful buildings that are here. We've been to the prison, to the Ark. We've been to many of the mausoleums. So I can recommend to everybody, you must come to Bukhara to see the most beautiful city in Uzbekistan.
My My name is Ksenia. We came from Russia. It is very beautiful here. I liked everything very much. Very beautiful places, very beautiful people, and people should be proud of their heritage. There is very tasty food, very beautiful clothes. I liked everything very much. We'll definitely invite all our friends to come to Uzbekistan and visit all the local cities. Instructions, advice given in the work Arifnama by Khoja Orif Revgariy are relevant today. It notes in particular, if a person is burdened with a heavy load, how can he fly up? My traveler, if you wallow in a worldly life, then you will not find the way to God, and you will not reach Him with your heart. Education is the decoration of nobility. Lonely is a person remote from the presence of friends. Silence without words sounds much more beautiful than extra words spoken. The following two things grieve the soul: excessive eating and long sleep. Hey righteous scholar, listen with your mind to what I say. Draw my advice with a pattern on your heart. We came to the holy place, Sayyidi Arif Khoja Orif Mahtaban. We often come here with our children and grandchildren to get spiritual uplift and lightness in this holy place, as well as to get knowledge. Our Venerable Revgariy, always called the Enlightenment, was known for his beauty. We are proud of him. We are still proud that we live in the homeland of Al-Bukhari. The seven spiritual mentors of Naqshbandi have always been support for us, give us strength. Khoja Muhammad Orif Revgariy died in 1262 in the village of Revgar, where he was born and raised, where he was buried. A tomb was built over his grave, and today this place serves as a place of pilgrimage. We need to study the spiritual heritage of our great ancestors, visit the holy burial places of these significant people to receive spiritual food. A person without a history has no future, but a person with a history will have a happy future. The names of respected mentors who have become famous throughout the world are being restored anew. Holy places are being improved, which means that this region will be bright. I would like to turn to our youth with advice: don't lose your essence, enjoy your rich spiritual heritage. A source of purity, then a bright future awaits you. Monuments of Bukhara, announced from millennia. You will be humiliated, you will be subdued. If you know your greatness, monuments of Bukhara, trust the advice from the ages, great made great, beliefs of the ancestors. During 2018 to 2019, the pilgrimage sites of Arif Revgariy were restored and the Mahtaban Garden was created. This place, built in accordance with the traditions of Oriental architecture, is now more crowded than ever. In this world, be yourself, and in the other world, be your heart.